Hello, and welcome to Reimagining Love. I'm Dr. Alexandra Solomon. I have been studying relationships for over 20 years as a couples therapist, a professor, an award-winning author, and as a wife, mother, daughter, sister, and friend. Now, I'm inviting you into this space each week as I dig into some of the toughest and most fascinating relational dilemmas of our time. If you want to discover how to create vibrant and loving relationships in your own life, you have come to the right place. This is Reimagining Love. Welcome back to Reimagining Love. It is the 200th episode of the podcast today. And round of applause. Seriously. And so to mark this momentous milestone, we're back in the studio. And I have with me my favorite ride or die, husband Todd. Welcome back.
Thank you. Congratulations on your 200th episode. That's amazing. 200 of anything is kind of an astounding number. So congratulations.
It's I'm
very proud of you.
I haven't done I would really like my team and I to kind of look through the catalog, because there are times when I forget that we did an episode and I look back, I'm like, oh my God, we did that.
Yeah, it's like 4 years worth because it's almost every week. I mean, that's a stunning amount of episodes of anything. Like TV shows, they always cut the cake at 100th episode and you did 2 times that. So,
well, and I think having you here feels really appropriate because you were here. Like I came to you, I was like, I think I want to start a podcast. And you had the same response you have to every time I come to you with one of my ideas. You're like, cool. Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Do it. Make it happen. And you've been with me.
I didn't say it better be good. No.
You might have said it better be good.
Okay. Well, good. What is good?
It is good and it's done good. And I want to share something in just a moment. But I was also thinking, it's not just the podcast that you have been there from the beginning of. It's like my entire freaking career, like we were dating when I declared a psychology major and we were together through grad school and whole trajectory.
Yes.
Everything I know about relationships, I've come home to tell you about.
Yes,
okay,
that is
listen
true.
to what I learned.
Articles and things. Yeah, absolutely. Research.
So thanks.
Of course.
For being a yes.
Thanks for having me. Congratulations. Happy 200th.
Thank you. The main point of this episode is that we have gathered a set of listener questions that have come in from literally all over the world for us to unpack together. I said when we were pushing on social media for people to send in questions, I was like, okay, so he's not a therapist. He's a corporate lawyer.
Yeah.
But everything I've known over the years, I've shared with him, and we've had infinity conversations about our relationship, about other people's relationship, about dynamics, the whole thing. So
right. I'm relationship educator adjacent. Hopefully I can add some value for you.
Before we do that, I want to read a message that came in on Instagram yesterday, and it's from a former Marriage 101 student, a guy that I taught in 2023. I wanted to share this as an appropriate way of starting the 200th episode. He wrote, "Hi, Dr. Solomon. I hope you're doing well. Not sure if you remember me. I took Marriage 101 with you spring of 2023, my senior year. I had just gone through a breakup when the class started, so I was particularly open to your lessons, looking inward and striving to grow. I know I told you at the time how the class had already transformed my relationships with my parents, but almost 3 years later, I have found myself so much more relationally self-aware in my friendships and now in my 9 months and counting long relationship. Just the way I notice harmful habits, reflect on emotional signals that arise, or approach conflict has been heavily molded by your class. Early on in this relationship, trying to navigate medium distance, inexperience, and very disparate family of origin relationships and emotions, I found myself coming back to your podcast to refamiliarize myself with some of your teachings and to add almost an extra perspective in my thinking at times. Your frameworks have led me and my boyfriend to grow so much, both as individuals and in our relationship together, even in our very brief time. This is essentially a long preface to say that when Spotify Wrapped came out today, you were my top podcast for the year.
Wow.
It was also an excuse to thank you for the lasting effect so many of your nuggets of learning and wisdom have had on me, and how profoundly better my life has been for opting into the marriage class at the end of my time in college."
That's wonderful. That's like your legacy, I think. I mean, obviously, maybe the podcast will be part of it too. But when you think about the hundreds and thousands, I guess, several thousand people you've taught in college at that, and college is such a formative time when you're learning about hopefully everything, if you had even a fraction of that impact on those people, that's just like spreading throughout the universe or the world. And that's like his children. And, that's generative too. Or is that the right word? Or whatever it's called. So that's amazing.
It's so cool.
It's very lovely.
Well, yeah, and the podcast.
And like to think to write, this isn't like somebody you're in conversation with. This is somebody who sought out a chance to write something incredibly special and nice. So that's great.
That is such a reminder that when somebody passes through your mind and you feel thankful for them or appreciative, like to just like take that little step to reach out and say, here's how I still think of you. Like whenever I literally like had tears in my eyes when I read this, and even like choked up like reading it just now. Like it is so profoundly impactful.
It makes a huge difference. Yeah, for sure.
Right. So he not only feels that way about what he, but he took the time to share.
Yes, that's the difference, I think. Yes. That taking the next step, which most people don't do, but that shows how important it was to him. It's not just some fond memory from school, but like really has impacted him.
Yeah. It's something I love about the podcast too, is it's like there's, Marriage 101, it's only 100 students a year, but this is how it can be like amplified as all of this.
And you always say like the quality of your relationships is the number one, right? Research shows signifier of happiness in your life. So not your job, not your home, not your car, not your friendships, but your intimate partnership, right? Isn't that
all of your relationships?
All of your relationships. Okay. Well, that's a big deal. Nice that you get to do what you like to do, but also make impact.
Yes.
Some of us do what we like to do and make lesser impact. Maybe. No, I mean, any attorney that doesn't, work in the criminal justice system where you're saving somebody's life. I mean, I do great work, but it's all business and money and employee benefits and taxes and things that it's not nearly that profound. I'm never going to get a note from that from a client. It just doesn't mean as much to them.
Well, I
think any lawyer would say the same thing, except for ones that, you defend somebody on death row and you get them exonerated. I bet you get a letter like that.
Yeah.
Corporate, business law, it's very fulfilling and you help people in immeasurable ways, but just not quite like that.
Yeah. It's why it makes me think of two things. It's why pro bono work has been so important to you over all these years. And then B, why mentoring. Like I feel like that's you go above and beyond around mentoring.
Right. If I'm going to get a letter like that, it's probably going to be somebody I worked with in my own firm, not from a client much as clients
or a grad
me.
Student. Like you travel to.
Or a law student. Yep.
All right. You ready to tackle a question?
Sure. Fire away.
All right. Our first question comes in from Spain.
Okay.
And here's what she says. Hi, Dr. Alexandra. I have been with my boyfriend for 7 years, and I feel like I've become overly dependent on him and his emotional states. When he's sad or angry, it's almost as if I become upset too. Also, when he's angry, he's the kind of person who needs a lot of attention, even when he's not upset with me, but about something else. I feel like I have to listen and be fully present for him. I don't know if this makes me selfish, but I feel like my sense of peace gets disrupted by his emotions. Even though I love him, this is something that really affects me. I'd like to have some tools to work around this as a couple and as individuals. Do you want the first bite at this apple?
No, I don't think I ever want the first bite. I don't know. Sure, I'll take the first bite. I guess I want to answer the question with several other questions. Because I think the first part was, maybe... I guess I don't know what is meant by what was it when he's angry?
Even if it's not about.
It's not about. So is that clear that it's not about her? That was the part that was not clear. It said when he's angry, I get involved in it or something. And I didn't know if that meant angry at her or just angry at his job or the world or his mom or, because that's a big difference.
She says when he's angry, he's the kind of person who needs a lot of attention.
Right.
Even when he's not upset with me.
Oh, even when he's not. Well, okay. So that is a big deal. Right. So I think that to me, okay, that's helpful because when somebody's not angry with you, getting very involved in it doesn't sound like, other than support, are we talking about it? Can I help you? Can I let you vent? It sounds like they're doing some of that, but the taking it on of, he's angry at the world or something else, I guess I think that it sounds to me like a little bit of a red flag or something to work through if that's disrupting the relationship. Because if you're angry at me and I've done something and you're angry with me, that should clearly impact our relationship. If you've had a bad day at work and you're angry at your boss, and we've talked about it once or twice for the requisite amount of time, and I've given a listening ear and been empathic, oh, I'm sorry you've gone through that. I don't see why that should be any more than that. Like that to me sounds like a thing to work with a therapist or somebody on, or start implementing strategies on, because that sounds like a lot. That doesn't sound like how it should be. Should is always a bad word, I guess, to use. But in other words, somebody's had a bad day at work and you've talked about it and it's still ruining, next day, 3 days later, and you feel like it's being taken out on you. Like that to me seems like he's not doing a good job of processing his anger or compartmentalizing it. Or he has something, it could be something clinically going on, right? Anger could be depression or something that needs to be treated or, So I don't know. I guess that to me is like there's a requisite amount of every couple has to take on each other's emotions to some extent and to be a good partner, but taking it on to that extent sounds, I don't know, I don't like the word red flag because it makes it sound negative, but like definitely something to work on or talk about, or, I don't know what the question would be, the curious question or the entry point of, hey, I feel like when something happens bad at your work, it takes several days, or you're taking it out on me or the house, because imagine, it sounds like, maybe you don't have kids, but like, imagine that, when there's really kids in the house and dad's always upset and being by himself. I mean, that just doesn't work great in the family. So sounds like he either needs a little more coping strategies or she needs a little more distance of like, you work your stuff out. And maybe she's too close. Maybe she should give him some space. I don't know what it is because we don't know, but it definitely sounds like something that is a must to work through because it doesn't sound particularly healthy for him and happy for her.
You're very good at this.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, you did.
All right,
good.
next question.
No.
I'd like to talk to the next question.
I'm gonna come on in with a couple of additional.
Okay. Well, I think it was covered, but yeah, go ahead. A couple things. Yep.
You think there's nothing added?
I don't think there's anything you could possibly add. Actually, let's hear it. It's funny. I'm making myself laugh. Go ahead.
Well, my first thought was that she's
wrong.
No.
Okay, good. Sorry. Turning your show into a terrible clown show. 199 wonderful episodes, and then a real shitty 200th episode. Congratulations, Reimagining Love. You're crashing and burning at 200. Nobody lives forever. I'll stop.
Right.
Go ahead. Please
run.
tell me your thoughts.
All right, Todd. My thoughts on your show.
Yes.
My first thing is, when she says, I worry I'm being selfish. That's the thing I don't like. That is deeply unhelpful because she's not being selfish. She's literally a mammal. Like we are, like emotions are contagious. And the closer you are to somebody, like to the point that you had made about like, it doesn't mean that he's responsible for her well-being, right? But it means he's responsible too. Like that is the commit. That is one of the like, burdens of intimate partnership is that you are co-regulated. Your nervous systems are entwined. The longer you're together, the more they're entwined. Like I know that when I sense your moods, you sense my moods.
Sure.
There's no world where she's going to feel the exact same way on the inside when he is storming around or isolating himself or road ragey because he's displacing his anger about work. So I want to just like really validate that to your point, like it's not healthy for him and it's going to impact her well-being. Yeah,
no, I agree. I think, and especially in today's generation, it seems like singledom or whatever you'd call it is like more popular than ever. Like, relationships aren't for everybody, but if you enter into one, you are under an obligation to largely have your shit together. Not all the time. Everybody's got stuff, but like, no, you can't, disappear for 3 days. And not that she's said, but if she's writing the question, it probably means there's something that is not sitting right or normal in her mind of, how angry, the person is, that that is each partner's obligation. So, right, I am piggybacking off of what you said, and she is absolutely valid for saying that she wants better and she's not selfish. It's just that's what you should expect of a partner. And if you're not in a partnership that has that, realize there are other people out there that
wow,
do
you're
that.
taking her there.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm just saying, because sometimes people think they don't deserve better or there aren't better. All men are this. I just don't think that stuff's true. I think you're never going to find somebody that's perfect. So I'm all for always staying together when you could work through stuff. But this idea that, you have to settle for somebody who's not together in that way, I don't think that's true.
Well, and here's what I would want. Here's what I want them both to be. I like that you.
I'm trying to end relationships. Right?
No, I know. But there needs to be a conversation or a series of conversations where she starts to talk about the impact of his mood on her, not as a guilt trip, but as a way of saying, we have a problem. And that is
not in a blaming way, like you're always angry or you do this or, it's more just here's how I feel when.
Yeah. And I think there's a question, like this is a question in the couple therapy world, is like, when is the need for self-soothing and when is the need for other soothing? Because certainly it's appropriate for him to like want and need support from her. Like that's, I think, appropriate. That's really helpful. Like that when part of the benefit of intimate partnership is you get to carry your burdens together, stressors together. But I do worry that if she's feeling overly responsible for his moods, there becomes a cycle where the more she's his like emotional security blanket, then the more he's not developing it for himself, the more he's not developing it for himself, the more he needs her. So I suspect they may be caught in a cycle where he's not taking responsibility for his own feelings because he doesn't really have to because she's there and she's good at it and she knows him and.
But it sounds right. That may be working for him, but it sounds like it's not working for her.
No, and she does not. She actually, it becomes part of the problem by not speaking to this because she will become resentful. She will become burned out. Right. She will start to judge him, and then she's not able to be
right. And isn't that built differently too? Though, aren't there some people where she could be that and not be unhappy by it? I mean, everybody's different, right? Isn't that the whole thing? Like, isn't there a scenario where he might need somebody to be very regulating his emotions and that could end up being healthy because a different she doesn't mind?
I guess, but a different
Isn't everybody like a little, like you find different, some people are, I don't know. Maybe I'm asking. I don't know.
I think
it doesn't mean that he's, terrible guy to want somebody to help regulate his emotions.
It does not. It does not. But he's going to always be somewhat at risk if he can't also do it for himself. So I do like the idea of him. Yes. I like him being in individual therapy. I like the idea of him being in a men's group. Like I like him just being curious. I also am a little bit suspicious.
Or getting the feedback that he's a lot on this stuff. Maybe he doesn't know.
Sure.
Maybe he thinks he's happy and calm all the time. And that's the point of the conversation to say. Like,
or he thinks that his mood doesn't affect her.
That's true too.
Because if he grew up in a home where if in his home growing up, his distress was not seen, nobody saw when he was upset, then it actually is news to him that she's reading his moods and she's affected by his moods. And she, that might really be a different way of being. If his home was really kind of like isolated and distant.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, listener in Spain, we got you. I hope that was helpful.
Hope so.
Are you ready for another one?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
We go from Spain to Canada.
Oh, wow.
So we now...
This is quite the trip around the world.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. Listener from Canada who also uses she, her pronouns. Mm-hmm. And she says, I am the betrayed partner. My partner was in a long-term affair. And since the affair was discovered, we've been working hard together in therapy. We took the course, Can I Trust You Again? That's my e-course.
Okay.
And we found it very helpful. Could you please shine some light on the topic of infidelity and avoidant attachment style? I know there isn't a direct correlation, but I think the avoidant patterns often lead to disconnection and dishonesty that can contribute to creating an environment susceptible to infidelity. I am struggling as a partner of an avoidantly attached person. And even as we are trying to work on the core issues of disconnection and pursue our distancer dynamic, the betrayal trauma I experience and the avoidant tendencies of my partner further complicate our healing journey. Also, I want to thank you for a great course on rebuilding trust after infidelity and being empathetic toward all parties involved. I also found the podcast episode on affair partner very interesting and so on point. So just for the listener, if you don't know, I have a Can I Trust You Again course that is designed for couples who are post-infidelity and trying to explore the process of rebuilding trust, like creating that sort of 2.0, building something from the ashes situation. And there's a lot of worksheets, a lot of resources. Couples around the world, many, many couples around the world have taken the course and found it helpful. So we'll link it in the show notes. And then also that affair partner episode that I did on the podcast a couple of years ago is also there, and we'll link it in the show notes for you. Okay, so this one is a little more technical, a little
more.
So do you want
No,
me to
you go ahead. Fire away, please.
Okay. Really nice things. We have an upcoming episode with a therapist named Jessica Boehm who really centers her work on attachment style. So we will, that'll be up in the catalog soon. We have other episodes also. I spoke with Dan Siegel a couple of years ago about attachment styles. And I hear you on that idea. So basically the notion of an avoidant attachment style is a partner whose orientation to relationships is when things get hard, when conversation becomes difficult, they tend to retreat into themselves. They tend to turn a lot of like two-person dynamics into one-person dynamics. They kind of go into their own head. And that's oftentimes based on an origin story of not having a reliable person or not having the experience of having feelings validated. And so you sort of learn how to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and, pull away because there's no ability to expect people to be there for you and with you. So what this listener is saying is, as we're rebuilding after infidelity, what I'm realizing is my partner is pretty avoidant, that when things get difficult, they go inward instead of reaching for me. And so I agree with everything that you are saying there, that you can see for yourself how your partner's long-standing avoidant patterns created the condition where they could cheat, like where that was sort of the most extreme volume turned all the way up manifestation of their avoidant pattern is pulling so far away from you
that you can have a whole other thing going on.
Yeah.
Is that always the case or no?
I mean, there has to be, like, in order for infidelity to happen, there has to be a disconnect and a story attached that I get to do this because I'm disconnected, or I have to do this because I'm disconnected.
She's this or that.
Or because she's this or that. And that is, I don't think you can be, it's really hard to imagine feeling attuned and connected and present and having that going on the side, So it's a precondition,
Have you ever had that? Like, have you ever had a client where you felt like there was an affair from somebody who was really engaged, they just wanted two, not one kind of thing? Is that a precondition? Is that like a requirement?
There's research.
I'm not talking about open relationships or things like that, but like, have you ever in your caseload seen a couple where you're like, they were in love the whole time, the family was great, and oh, by the way, he just so happened to be having an affair too, and he was loving that too. He loves everything. Or is it always that there's something missing? Is that like a precondition?
It's so complicated because I have definitely had betrayed partners say, I don't understand why this happened because we were in a really good season of our relationship. So I have had that. And there is research to show that men especially can report a pretty high degree of relationship satisfaction and have an affair because it's really compartmentalized. Like it feels like a different category altogether. But no, I don't. I think that regardless of what, connection is because you can't like measure connection with like a blood test.
Right.
I think people's definitions of connection are different. And what I know to be true is that how people define adequate connection post-infidelity is really different. Like I've had lots of betrayed partners being like, I'm not sticking around for like a C- relationship.
Right. Well, I know, infidelity carries a lot of shapes and sizes. I wasn't like necessarily talking about the shorter ones, but like these really long-term ones, I guess I meant. Like, is it possible to just, maybe it is, have like two really good relationships going on and, like these reality shows that, and those aren't affairs per se, but like these I'm in love with two women, which is every reality show ever.
Yeah.
Love is Blind or Bachelor, Bachelorette, Golden Bachelor, like such strong feelings for two women. I think that part is obviously, the attraction part is obviously, but they're not in relationships. So maybe that's the difference.
Yes, I think so. I think so. Because in order to pull off a long-term affair, like the amount of deceit and strategy, it just can't, like it compromises first of all, it compromises the betraying partner's emotional health, to be carrying all of that deceit and keeping it all straight. Yeah. But then the affair, like even, it's really interesting, like when an affair becomes a long-term thing, it ends up taking on like a lot of the qualities of any other long-term relationship. Like it has its own dynamics and conflicts and repairs, Yeah. So I think I think the answer to your question at a high level is no, you can't be fully
immersed
engaged
in both. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
When one is.
Then I short-circuited the rest of the question.
Well, I don't know that you did, but I think I guess in terms of for her purposes here, I don't know that focusing solely on her partner's attachment style is going to be particularly helpful for her. Like I think what I want them to be focusing on is her partner's entire relationship pattern. Like what was their role in their family growing up? What was what were they seeking? What were they yearning in the relationship? What were they not able to ask you for within the relationship? Like that's all kind of like thicker and richer than just thinking like about they are avoidant. I think sometimes when we focus on attachment styles, it's like you like shrink the person down to that one word or that one label that, especially in infidelity recovery, I just don't think it's like big enough to be able to hold what they need to be doing. Right.
It's probably just helpful on the front end to have a reason. But I think when something bad happens, you want to have a reason. At least me, I would say I would want to, know why.
Yeah. Well, and a why like this is really helpful because what it tells her is this started long.
Right. Some of that's helpful or saving the feelings of inadequacy or something.
Yes. Right. That it's not, that there's a way in which it can't be about her because it started long before, before they even knew each other.
Right.
It started in this person's entire orientation to relationships. And the question is, where do they go from here? Can they build emotional safety and attunement within their relationship? And so that her betraying partner needs to really see this as like the come to Jesus moment. Opportunity to say like, I know that I pull away. I know that I bite my tongue. I know that I don't speak my truth. I know that I tend to solve things on my own. That clearly doesn't work for me. How do I want to live differently?
Good. Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the funny thing. I mean, in all long-term relationships, there's always going to be some element you have to work through. I guess it's just a range of, some of these bombs are bigger than others, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like something like that probably takes years and years to get over versus something you said, something you did, some insensitive thing you did, some period where you were less in tune. There's just certain infractions that I guess are harder to work through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, and we're thinking, right, and she's also saying this was a long-term affair. Not that it's necessarily, I think that I've seen single incidents of cheating blow up an entire marriage, and I've seen really long affairs and couples build something, pretty incredible from the ashes. So that can't even be the determinant. The determinant really is, does her partner want to see this as an opportunity to grow?
Makes sense.
All right, Canada. Hope that you feel supported there. New York.
Okay. Back to the States.
This is our only question today from a gentleman.
Oh.
He says, I am reaching out to get guidance about a way for me to move past my resentment in my marriage. We've been together for 10 years. After doing my own therapy work, I realize now I was prioritizing her wants and needs over my own and being overly accommodating. During the early years of our relationship, I was juggling medical school while maintaining the home as she worked full-time. It was tough and knowingly one-sided, but we agreed that our roles would flip once I started working and she started law school. But then when she started law school, the roles didn't change, and for good reason. She struggled with depression from law school during COVID, and her mom died unexpectedly during the second year of law school. I try to be more supportive and understanding, but I found myself getting more resentful now. Especially, I feel like more has been expected of me than her, which is a recurring theme of my own childhood trauma that I'm working through. We've been going to couples therapy for over a year. We have a beautiful baby girl, and I love our life, but I'm stuck I can't move past these two distinct periods in our relation. Let's start us off here.
Do you want the real answer or the inappropriate answer?
Oh,
inappropriate answer is never marry a lawyer, but I take that back. I guess I don't know. That's a hard one. I guess I'd never have had. I mean, I've tried to always put myself in shoes of these questions and like relate to some element of it. And resentment's not one I really kind of resonate with me because I don't resent you, and it's not an emotion I really resent. I don't resent a lot, I guess.
When we were together for the last episode, I remember you saying like, I really do try to
Kinda
start
let
every
things
day
go.
fresh.
Yeah.
Really, like try to start.
Yeah. I mean, I've been like angry about stuff, but resentment's just like it's a more judgmental feeling, right? It's not only
it's quiet,
something bad happened to me, but
simmers.
like you just really there's more contempt in it. I think, right? And you always use that as a term that's like really more difficult to a relationship than frustration or resentment. Just to me, it means more like I'm out of balance or I'm out of whack or something. It's like I think this person is doing this to me intentionally or kind of like bait and switch, or there's some, when I hear the question, it sounds like more than I'm struggling of, carrying the load. It's like inability to kind of like get over the past or get over the deal or, maybe that's where I have resentment. I guess like one area I have resentment is in the dumbest little areas of my life, like AT&T charges me for something that I don't think that I have resentment. I literally can't get over it. And despite the fact that I actually have an hourly rate and I know how much time is, an hour of my time is worth, I actually, or how many dollars an hour in time I'll spend, 2 hours on $6 if I think I've been wrong. So that feels like resentment. And that does feel horrible when I hate how I am towards AT&T. If they're listening, I apologize. People like that, but that's like the one area I have it. But that's to me that's what jars me from hearing the question is it's not somebody sort of, going through the normal allocation of housework and life. Cause that like ebbs and flows. Like sometimes you do more, sometimes I do more. This area you do, we talk about this a lot, allocation of work and invisible labor and all this stuff you've taught me about. I feel like we talk about that a lot, but resentment just calls into this, like he even said these two phases. Like here was the time where I did this and then you were supposed to do this and you didn't do it. I don't think there's any getting over that. I think the way to get over that is to not view it through that paradigm. Like to me, it's like a mental shift that's in the past, circumstances have changed. You're never going to get that deal. How do I make myself happy within the framework I'm in? Could I have conversation? If they're in therapy, they must be having conversations about how do we even things out from here? But like some things you win, some things you lose. And that's what happens in your life. And your life is a series of experiences where sometimes you win things and sometimes you lose things. And I don't even mean in relationships. I just mean like
life, right.
Losing my dad at 25 was something I lost.
Yeah.
I just lost that. I'll never get it back. I would view this like that. Like I cannot change that.
Right.
And so whether it's the serenity prayer or some, like element of, I thought I had a deal and I don't have a deal. Like I lost that deal. That deal's over.
Yes.
You're never getting that deal back. Just like I'm never getting my dad back.
Right.
So you just kind of like, I don't know. So I'm kind of coming around to the resentment word to me is like this dynamite thing because it suggests he's viewing it as much more than we're out of balance. I do too much around the house and I do too much for the kid. And I do, I'm doing too much. It sounds like it's really stuck.
Well, I think the way you're talking about it is really, really helpful because now it's a forgiveness journey.
Yeah.
So my two favorite definitions of forgiveness,
exactly.
like one definition of forgiveness I love is forgiveness is a canceled debt. Because what you're saying is there's a debt.
I've never heard that, but that's exactly what this is. Yeah. It's a debt and he's never going to collect it.
Yeah. So he's powerless over the debt, but he's incredibly powerful about the ability to cancel the debt.
Yes.
And it's merciful, like it's a mercy to her, it's a mercy to him to cancel the debt.
Right.
And then the other definition of forgiveness, I think that's really helpful here, is forgiveness is letting go of the wish that the past could be different.
Right.
So it's a really unique kind of torture to replay the past and want it to go differently because you just are never going to get it.
Right.
I want you, New York, exploring the forgiveness you need to do of her, the way you need to forgive her. But I also think it's incomplete unless you explore how you need to forgive yourself. And so
Forgive yourself for what?
Well, for like the man that he was, the version of himself that he was.
That he got taken advantage of, you mean?
Well, yeah, that agreed. Like, can he?
Right.
How can he? Like, I love this idea of like him sitting down and having a conversation with the version of him that agreed to that first deal.
Right.
And how can he love on that version of himself? What was that version of himself seeking, believing, hoping for? Like, I suspect he's not a fool. And if he's not a fool, then he made that choice for a really good reason that made sense at the time.
Right.
In the rearview mirror, he wouldn't make the same choice, but that's not.
Or in the rearview mirror, he wishes his partner had the capacity or to do differently. I mean, that's the other thing too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like because I have like empathy for that because I think like a deal is a deal. Like if you know you and I agreed on something and we're like, well, you know, you're going to move here or do this or that, you know, and then we didn't do it. I would probably. Resentment wouldn't be the right word, but it would be hard for me to let go of the black and white if it was that obvious of said we were going to do this, we're not doing this. Like that is hard, but it's just like you said, it's a forgiveness journey of probably not her intention to screw him on the front end, or she probably didn't make the deal thinking I'm going to trick this guy and bait and switch him in 7 years or 10 years. So if he trusts her and he loves her and he thinks she's not, you know, cunning enough to have made a deal just to trick him when she probably doesn't. We don't know. Because maybe she did. I don't know. But if it's not that, if you in your gut feel like she tricked me, she's taking advantage of me, that's different than, you know, life circumstances got in the way and we're just never going back to the deal I thought in my head.
Well, and here's a part that I suspect you can relate to is a conversation about her taking accountability for not meeting her end of the bargain might be limited by her shame, her defensiveness, her explanation. If she,
maybe that's all he really wants to hear. Is her sitting in the therapy session saying, witnessing. I know I made a deal and I know I didn't keep it and I'm very sorry for that, but I cannot keep it.
Yes. And we don't know if...
And I bet you're right, because somebody as sophisticated as yourself has trouble doing that. Maybe Mrs. New York has trouble doing that.
Yes.
Because that is something, you've always, I feel like, I don't know, you'd have to tell us why I struggle with that. Sort of full-throated apology of you've gotten much better at it, but even today it's something I'd say you struggle with more than
it's why I did
average.
There's a whole podcast episode. First of all, New York, there's a whole podcast episode called My 9 Favorite Resentment Busting Strategies. So we'll put that in the show notes. And then also there is another podcast episode that we did that I really like is called When Shame Blocks Repair.
Yes, that I remember that one because that one like really for sure resonated.
Did you think to yourself, oh, Al ought to listen to this one?
A little bit. No, I mean, you got to listen to it back. I mean, I think that is a powerful thing. Yeah, you feel shame before you feel regret for sure, I think. And then if you can get through the, shame, then it's like the regret says, oh, I need to apologize for this. But you're much more likely to feel so down about it or so despondent about something that you wouldn't think to say the other thing, and that's the relational piece. Because that was at the beginning of our relationship, and even at the middle, middle to late, that is very hard. So maybe that is what you've uncovered it as like, if it's a deal that was broken only in his mind, and she's never uttered out loud that she broke the deal and that she's sorry about it, that would suck.
That would suck.
Yeah,
that would suck. And we don't know where the breakdown is happening. Is he asking her to witness it?
Right.
Like if he may not even be asking her to witness it, he may feel ashamed. He may feel ashamed of his own resentment, so he's not bringing it up. So
true, or it may just feel like mean. Like sometimes you don't want mean and unnecessary. Like sometimes you don't want to tell somebody they have to apologize. You want them to want to do it and realize they have to do it, and you want to get apologized to not because I've told you need to apologize for this, because you think highly enough of me to do it.
Yeah.
So maybe that might all be going on.
That's for sure. That's for sure. But at this point, what's really clear to him is that he's not as open-hearted in this marriage as he wants to be and could be.
Yes.
And so if he hasn't alerted her, for sure, part of what he's grieving is that she didn't initiate this repair process. Right. But at this point, we want him to be initiating a repair process.
Right.
And doing it with her and asking her to really like bear witness to
and understand why.
Harm.
Yeah.
Not that it was intentional harm, and not that she's a bad person, but that there was some harm.
Right.
Okay, New York. So when we posted on social media that we were gathering these questions for this episode, my very dear friend, Terry Cole, sent a little question in. She wants you and I to talk about how we repair after rupture. And she says, I'm always fascinated by how long-term couples keep it good with a bunch of O's.
Okay.
So
can we define rupture? Because it sounds bigger than I'm used to.
Is that a term of art?
It sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like definitely art, not science.
But just like how do we come back together
like
after
a
conflict?
Oh, a conflict. Okay, so rupture doesn't mean like you've moved out or it's like something horrible has happened. Or
just
something.
like a break in connection.
Nowadays, I guess that's the question versus in the old days. Because in the old days, it was take more distance, I think. And there's still some part of that. But take distance would be like a thing. Like if I know you're upset at me about something, it's best to not force the issue to talk about it right then. Like giving you some time.
If I'm upset with you?
Or mostly, or vice versa. But mostly if you're upset with me, if I've done something wrong, leave it alone for a bit and then try to come back to it. Or tell you I'm available to talk about it, but not force it. I think I used to like force it. Got to talk about it. Got to work through it. I'm here. But like, it's not, fast is not always best on stuff like that. I guess it depends on who did what. I think on something, little, I think it's turn the other cheek is a lot of it in a long-term relationship. Like don't fight every fight you could fight. Like if I told you every time I asked you to do something and you didn't do it, it would be too unpleasant. You just have to make peace with that's not your strong suit. You're trying, you do many other things. And if I picked it every time where I asked you to do something, I think that is a strategy. Turn the other cheek or just leave it alone.
Practice acceptance. You have accepted
acceptance, right.
Which I know is hard for you because that's a dynamic that you experience in other parts of your life too, where like you are, you're waiting, you wait on other people to do things.
A lot.
Yes. And I don't like that I am part of
the crew.
Part of the crew.
Yeah, but that's fine. So some of it's acceptance, like you said. Some of it is distance. Some of it is be pretty quick to recognize it, meaning if I've done something and I realize it's something, trying to get in front of it and say, oh, yeah. Are you upset about when I did this? Or I'm sorry about that, and then apologize and kind of move on. I don't know. What else am I missing?
I know that one of the, like just a strategy that I find helpful is like when you and I need to have a hard conversation, it's going to go so much better if we can be walking when we do it. It is so huge for me. Like when we're not in sync, it is so, like I'm still growing like my capacity to stay present during that because it's so unpleasant for me and I flood so much easier than you do.
Yeah.
But if we're walking, I can stay much more regulated, and I think there's something about just our bodies side by side. We're looking in the same direction. We're moving, there's fresh air. Like I think that's all of that is really helpful. So just in terms of like the context, I think the context matters a lot.
Good one.
One time last summer, we had a conflict while we were on a run together.
Oh, wow.
And it led to a really good run because I was
so fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
That's
so
funny.
I was very fast. That was the one where you said, and it like stuck with me. I know exactly which house we were in front of when you said it. You said, Al, I don't understand how you don't feel like I have your back on this.
I do remember that.
I've been nowhere for the last, 30 years. Yeah, besides like having your back.
Yeah.
You were,
I felt like I was not, like it was a money in the bank argument or something. Like I had done something, I don't know. It was probably insensitive, but it was taken to mean something so far outsized of what a reasonable third party would, who was watching us if you were watching us as a movie, you would say, there's no way he meant something like that. I don't remember even what it was, but I do remember thinking, and I think I handled that well. I think it was a good,
you did.
Because it was, and I wasn't trying to like just get out of things. It was just like, what more do I have to do to let you know I'm here and I'm by your side? Like that, that, because it doesn't happen for me. It just doesn't, I don't ever sort of wonder about that with you and you do with me. And I don't think it's because of me. I just think we talked about the attachment styles or coming from a family of divorce or whatever it is about you that, slightly broken seems more broken to you than it does to me or something. because everything's like slightly broken all the time, or you break stuff all the time. And then when we break stuff, to me, it's like, oh, put it back together. And for you, I think break stuff is like it's broken, or there's bigger meaning to you than there is to me.
Well,
usually,
And you just like one of your coping strategies, you let stuff go. Like you really like it's a coping strategy. I think it's a value
except
of
for
yours.
Fucking AT&T
and Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, right, and like certain sporting events.
Yeah, but that's a coping strategy. So it makes sense then that you also like you're just not primed to go to those places because you're letting it.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm primed to take in the full picture. I mean, I think that's why people become lawyers sometimes. They're really good at taking in the full picture. Like, I don't have a hard time keeping you in context. Like, you could say something horrible without me thinking horrible things about you. And I think if I do something bad, maybe you put me in a bigger, like...
Oh, I question your character?
Not question my character, but question like whether I'm right or whether we belong together or whether this is all going to work or, these like things. Whereas like I have 30 years of evidence in my brain that things are going to work. So when something feels like, geez, that was a horribly insensitive thing to do, it doesn't feel like, oh, there's all these horrible things along the way or there's going to be more or I'm able to like pretty quickly swallow it by the mountain of evidence suggesting that we do pretty well together.
Well, I think the other variable for us is that you don't struggle with self-compassion the way that I do.
True.
So my own struggle with self-compassion makes me really sensitive to things that feel insensitive from you to me, because then you end up feeling to me the way I feel to me. Right. You know what I mean? Like my skin is thinner because I'm already being hard on myself. Right. And so then if you're being less
you're definitely harder on yourself than I am in relationships for sure.
Yeah.
Not in the world. I'm very hard on myself if I make a mistake or I do something wrong or something gets undone or done the wrong way or, even like simple things. I get a speeding ticket or, things I've done wrong. I'm very hard on myself, but in relationships, much less so.
That's true. Okay, well, enough about us.
Okay.
Did we get it? I think we gave it.
I think
that's
so.
A good response. All right. Well, what about, let's go down under to Australia.
Wow. Our third continent.
A couple of Australias.
Goodness.
Okay. This is from Rachel, whose pronouns are they, them, and Rachel is in Sydney.
Okay.
And Rachel says, hi, Dr. Solomon, longtime listener, first-time inquirer.
Oh.
But they spelled inquire with an E-N because Australia.
Yeah.
I am a queer, non-binary person who's been in a situationship with a man for about 10 months. He enjoys a much slower pace in progressing things, and I have been enjoying this new experience. He is the first man that I have been romantically involved with. Because it is so different, I'm finding it hard to gauge if this is the right thing for me. He definitely meets some, but not all of my needs. I know that's normal, but how do I figure out what needs should be met and which are negotiable? I have had complex relationships with my family of origin. I spent years in therapy, but because this is new and different, I cannot translate my usual expectations and sense of self into our relationship. And I feel like I cannot make an informed assessment. I feel like there's a pros, cons list in my head. And firstly, I don't want to be constantly scoring him. And secondly, I don't want to be neglecting myself or setting us both up for failure. So thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whose turn is it to go first?
I don't know. I think
you go first.
I went first on Terry Cole, I thought.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's right. Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
I love this. I really love how Rachel is putting like a lot of variables into the equation here. Like one thing that Rachel is knowing is that this like their uncertainty about this relationship, there's a level at which it truly is about them partnering with a man. Not that you can say that all men are the same, but it's like Rachel gets that they are like kind of a stranger in a strange land here. And that some amount of lack of clarity may just be like, I don't know what's reasonable to just like kind of feeling their way into what it is to love a man. Like that's a different experience. So it kind of means that like whatever relationship experience Rachel has, it's not all maybe as helpful here as it could be or otherwise would be. So I like that. I also was thinking about hearing that Rachel is enjoying that he takes it slow, but wondering if there's a part of Rachel that interprets that as meaning that he's not sure about Rachel. You know what I mean? Like that there's like that one part of Rachel is saying, I love that it's going slow. But another part of Rachel is like, wait a minute, is it going slow because you actually don't know that you want me?
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say before I send it over to you is that whenever I talk about situationships, I always say that the container itself dictates the feeling. So ambivalence grows in an uncertain container. So part of the ambivalence is baked into the fact this is a situationship. You know what I mean? Like the lack of commitment.
It's 10 months, right?
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, is there such a thing as a situationship can't be longer than a year and then it becomes something else? Like I'm not the right guy to talk about situationships. Right. They didn't exist when I was looking for relationships, but like to me, we're kind of getting on the upper end of situationship.
You're kind of a couple.
I know I'm kind of old school on that, but like, yeah, I mean, when do you? I mean, can I say my name's Todd. I've been in a 28-year situationship. Can I say that, or is there some definition of like, well, we're calling it that because we're afraid of something, or there's some commitment thing going on, or just don't want labels, or like people who stay together, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, right? Aren't they not married? I mean, people do that all the time. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But at some point, it becomes something else, I think. And so maybe I don't know why I care about that or said that, but I think like
because I think you're feeling what I'm feeling is like that part of this uncertainty
is because the whole thing's we're calling it a situationship, right? And is it really that one anymore when it's 10 months old? I don't know.
So a little bit, I worry that Rachel and this guy are kind of like not cutting off their nose to spite their face, but like putting the wind at their face.
Posing a label on it
no, they're like putting the wind at their face. They're like making their kneecapping themselves?
Yeah,
what's the expression here? Yes. They're kind of like kneecapping themselves. Yeah. They're not giving this as full a chance.
They're calling it a situation. Yeah. I mean, the one thing that stood out to me when you read it was the part, and don't you have like little worksheets or something on this? Or like, like the part, like you'd have to read it back, but when they said, I don't know what's important to me.
Yeah.
That feels like worksheet time or something. Like, cause that's like, we're not gonna, your therapist isn't gonna tell you what's important to you. We're not gonna say what's important to me and my relationship is trust or fun, or like, it doesn't matter. So they absolutely know what's important to them. They just need to do the little worksheet and figure that out. I assume you have something you're going to put.
You know where they can find the
I don't know.
Worksheet?
Tell me where they can find
I'll tell you where Rachel can find the little worksheet. It's part of the intimate relationships course, like the e-course.
Because that to me is like step one on all this. Forget all the other stuff. But when I hear a story and it's like, well, I'm maybe keeping pros and cons because I don't know what's important to me. Like, ooh, that you got to work on that, because that's not something anybody else can help you with. And there's no wrong answer. It's all what's important to you is what's important to you.
Right.
Sometimes having an energetic partner is. Sometimes having a physically affectionate partner is. Sometimes having somebody who doesn't be mean to you. There's a million things that it could be, but nobody's going to tell you that. And it might change over time. So it's like a constant, what was important to me when we were 18 is different than what's important to me now.
It's also, when people know.
It's a lifetime journey of little worksheets.
Yeah, right. Longtime listeners know that I don't love a pro-con list unless the pro-con list is about who Rachel gets to be in this relationship. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's not so much about this man, because put anybody under a microscope and you're going to have stuff in the pro and stuff in the con. I'm not saying that Rachel could be with anybody, but like I would rather.
No, I heard the pro-con thing to be less about.
I think I feel like there's a pro-con list in my mind.
Oh, okay.
And firstly, I don't want to be constantly scoring him. So yeah, it is scoring him on the pro-con.
Yeah. Then it was more like in an effort to figure out what are the traits I'm looking for.
Yeah. But I like what you're saying, like sort of what's.
But no, I agree with that. Pro-con scoring all the time is not great. I think some of that is acceptance over time. Like, I mean, at the beginning of a relationship, there's inevitably some figuring out of what this person is and isn't. And then you just hopefully have the wisdom to try not to change the things you can't change and change the ones you work on changing the ones together that you can.
And knowing that nobody's going to be your everything. So if an energetic partner is important, but he's not really energetic, then make sure you've got some energetic friends totally that you can go and like.
Right. And there's some things you're going to change and some things you're not. Right. There's no way I would be able to change, even if I wanted to, that you wouldn't be involved in people's feelings, right? It's just sort of who you are. Like, what if I said, I wish my wife was less involved with her friends because she's taking on a lot of stuff for her family.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change that. And then there's other ones where I wish you were a little more organized with your stuff. And then that might change. You're not going to be perfect, but I might work with you on, could we do these 3 things that are really important to me?
Could we put the top of back on the Advil?
Top on the Advil, yeah. And nobody likes, especially the dog in the house, 300 Advil on the kitchen floor. Things like that, because that affects me. But it's not like, I don't try to organize your purse, things that affect you. So it's like when you're dealing with the Advil. So stuff like that. Yeah. But that's like knowing the difference between what you can change and what you can't, and accepting things that are different than you might. Yeah, if I was drawing it up, I would definitely make you neater. But plenty of things I like.
And sometimes what's helpful with those things is if Rachel is like focusing on a negative trait of this guy, is there a way that negative trait also makes possible this other thing? Like they're not particularly energetic, but that also means that they also aren't particularly anxious.
Right,
that's
right.
really helpful.
Right,
for me,
yeah. There's usually some benefit to all these things that could be seen as a negative, for sure. Yeah, my partner doesn't like to go out. Well, maybe there are things they do in the house that are nicer, or they calm you down because sometimes you just want to sit on the couch and watch something or do something quiet. And, as long as they're not preventing you from doing it.
So I guess what we're saying is that Rachel is never going to get this figured out as, down to a science, like a pie chart or a really like helpful, that it is loving somebody is always going to be a faith walk. And that as Rachel lets go of the pro-con list and really loves into this, if Rachel chooses this, then as they are loving into this man as he is and creating like their relationship together, then I would suspect that the things that Rachel loves about him grow and the things that Rachel struggles with about him fade to the background, because like what you focus on, you get more of. And there's so much power in the parts of our partner that we, like where we put our attention, like how we are watering the grass or shining on our partner.
Without a doubt, yeah.
So I would worry about Rachel just like giving away power here and just knowing that like, Rachel, if there's enough here to keep you interested for 10 months, there might be enough here to keep you really interested for
sure
a long, long time.
Right. And there's absolutely power that can be gained from figuring out what it is you want, regardless of what the answers are, or whether that matches up with the person.
Yes.
Right? It's all knowledge. And then it's like, just know that what you like and you don't like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And Rachel would be doing him if Rachel gets really clear that I actually have to have this here, then they're doing him no favors by staying with him and just resenting him for not having that thing.
Exactly.
Okay, let's do one more.
Okay.
Now we're with Sarah, she, her pronouns. When a relationship ends, what's next? I've just come out of a 20-year marriage, which began when I was 19. We had 18 great years and 2 hard ones. And despite lots of therapy and love and hard work, it's come to an end. The ending is amicable and we are co-parenting our teens well with lots of respect and mutual care, but I'm quite adrift. Given how young I was married, I've never really had a relationship end before. What now? How do we relate to one another? How do we now move about the world independently? It feels so strange not to say good morning and good night to my person every day. Oh, Sarah.
Tough one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, it's just, I think the first thing I would do is just validate the crap out of Sarah. Like it's so real. And even though it sounds like you both have done a beautiful job ending this relationship so carefully and thoughtfully and lovingly, like that feeling adrift is real. It makes me think about this gal, Mavis Hetherington, who was like one of the first divorce researchers. And when she was talking to people about divorce in like back in the 80s, 90s, probably 80s, the thing that they kept saying over and over again is like, I don't feel like me. So she called it like this not me feeling. So that like not me feeling highlights that we are like relational down to our core. So she truly, like Sarah's getting to know, like she truly is getting to know this new self of hers. Like that's profound and that takes time. And Eli Finkel at Northwestern also did some research that found that when people go through a breakup, not even a divorce, but a breakup, their self-concept clarity, like this feeling of like, I know who I am, it tanks when you go through a breakup. So she truly, like, she's feeling adrift because
There's a timeline on
actually is adrift. No, it is like it's time. I think there are people who can stay adrift forever. Like, I think it's time plus intention, right?
We
It's
say
like,
something more
well,
encouraging for Australia.
It's what she does. So we'll talk about what she can do.
But
good. Like, she needs time, but then she also needs to have some practices for like how how she starts to build this new stuff. So we'll get to that in a minute. But I also want to say, like, what she and her ex-husband have done by ending well is like legacy for their kids.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about these 3 teenagers now who will get to have mom and dad at their weddings and their graduations and like have them not have that pit in their stomach of what's going to happen or their loyalty torn. Like, that is the biggest gift. It's such a huge gift. So I hope both
goes on that.
Seriously. Yeah. What are your
yeah, not much to add other than what you said makes a lot of sense. I guess I was just curious how long that takes people, but it makes sense that you would not feel like yourself. And I think maybe that's just the whole lesson in it, right? The self-compassion to be like, I feel adrift, but I am supposed to feel adrift. And it just takes time. And that's why I ask all the time, like when you feel adrift, sometimes I think it just helps to know what. There's not a one timeline, but I remember, I'll go back to when my dad died.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking, I was asking us to talk about
it was the
this.
weirdest thing that happened because it's still so strange. It's still very strange. But the story is, I was talking to the rabbi who counseled us through his illness and helped us, did his funeral and all that. And it was the rabbi we practiced with at that point. And he said to me, like within days, I guess, after my father died, that, you're going to be grieving. You're not going to feel, he didn't say not feel like yourself, but you're not going to be well. And it's going to be 13 months. And in 13 months, you'll feel more like yourself. And I said, why? And I asked him, because I'm kind of a wise guy. I was like, what are you talking about? Why 13 months? Doesn't make any sense. Why not just say a year? He's like, because it's going to be 13 months.
I can't tell you a
year.
And
then I remember pulling out of a little bit. I wasn't in like super clear to the outside world funk, but, definitely was not myself. And I do remember one day, I think it was in the city, when I was working in the city every day at that point, when we used to go to the office every day. And walking around downtown or something, Michigan Avenue or some nice part of town that I didn't usually get to. And I was just feeling happier. And I remembered noticing that I was happier. And it was like almost the 13-month anniversary of my father dying. And I was like, and I said to myself, even like under my breath, that fucking guy, how did he know that? And so I don't know what the timeline is on something like this, but I think that's why I asked you is, I remember, because I tell people that anybody who loses a parent, or I haven't had anybody, fortunately, I don't think we have anybody lose kids. When I do, I share that story because it just helped me so much. And I don't remember thinking it along the way. I think that was what was so funny about it. Is that I don't know. I don't think so at all. I think I heard it and thought because he was a little bit of a character anyway. I just thought he was just not making any sense anyway, because it wouldn't have been the craziest thing he said. But when so I don't think I thought about it much between month 1 or day 1 and month 13. But then when it happened, I was like, my God.
Yeah.
And so I share that. But there's got to be people who have gone through a divorce like that. I mean, and I'm sure the numbers are different. Obviously, they're different. And this 13-month thing is kind of outlandish, even for somebody who's grieving. But there has to be a general time frame.
But it makes sense because 13 months, you've gone through every single first on the calendar
season. Maybe that is why he said it. Maybe because you're not going to feel good on the anniversary of the thing. So maybe that's where he came up with that. But and maybe that's true for a breakup too, right? The first Christmas, and then there's Thanksgiving, and then there's somebody's birthday, and so maybe it does apply to other things. And maybe I'll just start going around saying that to any friends who get divorced. You're going to feel great in 13 months.
Well, we want Sarah to reach out to us after 13.
Yeah, and the 13 months, if we're not already there, definitely let us know. But I mean, everything gets better, right? That's the fact of life on everything: job loss, divorce, death.
But there's things
of course
that
it feels uneasy, and she's going to wake up in the morning and be like, "Where's the guy I slept next to for 20 years?" Like that's got to be horrible.
Yeah.
but it will get better. It always gets better.
Well, and I think that she can support, I think she probably can accelerate her healing and support herself in the healing by like filling in, like I'm thinking about like the morning and evening. Like I want her, if she's noticing where the hard spots are, and if it's the good morning and the good night that she's missing so much, like what is a little practice that she could have that she does with herself every single morning?
Like that giant pillow you sleep with or something? Like, if I left it, you would be like, hey, like that or something else?
Just the giant pillow.
Or AI, like a robot or like
okay. No robots.
Okay.
No, but just like a very like
no, I understand.
Loving
You're just
practice.
Thinking of lovely, nice things, not concrete things.
A little journal entry or a special prayer she does or a ritual in the morning.
Mantra of how it's going to be okay today.
Yeah, something that she can remind.
Well, and she's already set herself up for success, like you said. Like it's got to happen quicker when you're not fighting and you're not dreading handing the kids off or seeing the kid like, Bobby's got a basketball game tonight and I got to sit next to that asshole. Like, she's already set herself up that this is going to go much quicker than a lot of people have to deal with.
Although maybe it makes it confusing because I imagine if you're amicable, then there might be these thoughts of like, wait, why didn't it work? And so I wonder if that can also cut the other way too. But I think what I'd want her to come back to is,
well, you're good.
I think is being amicable is a blessing. Like that it can be a blessing in and of itself without the amicableness meaning like opening a door to second thoughts.
Something else, right.
Amicableness exists on its own.
Right, it's a gift on its own.
On its own.
Yes.
The beginning, middle, and end there.
No, that makes sense.
But I would want them, I was thinking about, there's also research that shows that people who become friends with their ex, if that's going to go that way, like there's almost always like a break of space. So probably more space from him in the beginning also will help her and like will help her.
Right. Well, it's got to be confusing, right?
Yes. Yeah. And then.
Especially after 20 years, not insignificant amount of time.
Yeah. And it might not be friendship. It might be like we ought to have a different category of like what that means to work well together. Because it's.
Yeah, that's right. The friendship thing is a little curious.
Because you weren't friends.
Right.
You weren't friends.
Right. And being friendly and amicable is different than being friends.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I think it would be, if I was a kid and my parents got divorced and were friends, I'd be confused. That's just me.
But they can be, they can be
friendly and amicable and even, be at the same things and do the same things. Like my parents got divorced and we're going out to dinner every week as friends. I'd be like, why don't you stay married? That's me. But I'm not even like saying it with judgment. I just think it would be super confusing for a teenager if his parents were divorced parents were such good friends that they were like, spending every weekend together.
Yeah.
That would have been confusing to me. Yeah. I didn't have parents who got divorced, so I don't know what it feels like, but I can tell you I wouldn't like that.
Yeah. I also want her in a community, like I just really want her nurturing other relationships. Like I think part of what makes divorce so hard is that in our culture, we largely hold up, really intimate relationships.
A little worksheet for this too? Is there a little worksheet on this?
A little worksheet. Like we hold up, intimate relationships above other relationships. I think that's a mistake because then when somebody divorces, then it's like, what's my like pinnacle? What's my organizing thing? But she has this really nice opportunity now to really build like a rich network of all kinds of connections that get to kind of be a little bit more like democratic. Like there's more of a like tapestry for her. So she gets to pour into those relationships, maybe new relationships with other women who are divorced.
Yeah, well, there's so many support groups and like that's one of the benefits of like this social media stuff. Like aren't there online chat things and Zoom groups and you want to like be in a group with
but it might be that she's got some gals that she plays mahjong with, for example. And my friends and I are about to start mahjong in the new year.
Club,
But that just even things that are like
whatever,
fun or upbeat.
Little new habits. Although she's got 3 teenagers, she's plenty busy.
Well, yeah. I mean, bottom line, supporting her and cheering for her that they've done this as well as
for sure. Yeah, it's a lot to be proud of, and like you said, a legacy, like a gift for your kids.
Totally.
I don't know that we've ever run across kids who had divorced parents that were really, really acrimonious and didn't wish it was different.
Yeah. Right.
Have you ever? I mean, you see a lot of people in therapy whose parents were divorced. Anybody talk fondly about how much their parents hated each other?
Oh my God, no. Yeah. It's so damaging.
And some of the stuff you had in your own life was formative in how it changed your worldview or your experiences.
Because you're just torn. You're torn between people
you're a kid
who
and
literally
right.
you're made of both
it's
of them.
It's so confusing, right? Yeah. You're made of both of them and picking sides and fighting, and it's just so uncomfortable.
That's what just to go back to the research nerd, is that the research shows that kids post-divorce, like you see like a spike in like behavioral problems and emotional problems for all kids post-divorce. And then they really settle down and basically look not different than kids whose parents are still together, except for the subset of kids whose parents stay acrimonious and stay at each other. And those kids, they suffer for so long. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The thing I was thinking about that I forgot is I have heard recently about like divorce rituals. Like a dear friend of ours, who shall remain nameless, just threw a divorce party for one of her friends and her group that had gotten divorced. And they made her a sash and had like special foods and little rituals together, like to kind of celebrate and honor her transition. But also I'm thinking for Sarah about just like ritual, like you can make a ritual out of anything, if you add a candle and music and a prayer and a mantra, So I wonder if she has ritualized yet her transition. Okay. So I also would want that for her.
That could be like your next side business. Like you'd like jump out of the cake at one of those and then do like a whole session.
Like that.
Yeah, that could be fun. Be the kind of person you'd want at one of those little parties.
I might even pop out with a worksheet.
Right. Here we are. Worksheets for everybody. Interesting.
Worksheets and wine.
Yeah.
We did it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy 200th again. Made a major difference in the world.
Aww.
With all you've put out there.
You've made a major difference in my world.
And for people on 3 continents to think about spending even 5 minutes or 3 minutes of their day writing in questions to you. That's a tribute. So,
thank you, honey.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Reimagining Love. It is your support that has gotten us to 200 episodes. Week after week, you have entrusted me to travel with you into the most intimate and precious rooms of your heart, your mind, your soul, and your relationships. Together, we have talked about so many challenging and emotionally evocative topics. We have been brave together, and I'm so excited to continue to be brave together. Thank you for growing with me. A little bit of housekeeping. The next 2 weeks, we are taking a holiday break, but fear not, we will be back in action January 6th. I will be talking to a couple, which I love to do. I'll be chatting with podcast host and author Suzanne and her husband, Russell, about sobriety and relationships. Until next time, be well. Thank you for listening to our show. Our producers are Mary Chan and Katie Pagich of Organized Sound Productions. Our theme music was composed by Slade Warnkin. The show is executive produced by me, Dr. Alexandra Solomon. Do you have a relationship question that you want answered on the show? Visit reimagininglove.com to send in a written or audio question. Questions can be about intimate partnerships, family relationships, friendships, you name it. If you're looking for more love and relationship content, you can find me on Instagram at dr.alexandra.solomon or visit my website, dralexandrasolomon.com, where you'll find my blog as well as the Intimate Relationships 101 e-course based off of the popular class I teach at Northwestern University. Thank you for listening and see you next week here on Reimagining Love.